The hall of the Galactic Archive was silent. Thousands of alien scholars stood frozen, staring at the small silver ring on the human's finger. The human, Commander Ryan Holt, had no idea why everyone suddenly stopped breathing. He looked around awkwardly, scratching the back of his neck. Did I say something wrong? From the front row, an elderly alien woman slowly rose to her feet. Her skin shimmered with faint blue light, and her silver eyes trembled. She leaned on her staff and whispered, almost afraid to speak, "Where... Did you get that ring?" Ryan looked down at it. The ring didn't look special, just old metal with faint moving symbols across its surface. He chuckled. "This? Found it on Mars, inside an old wreck." The old woman's staff slipped from her hand. It hit the floor with a sharp echo that rang through the hall. Every alien in the chamber turned to her in shock. "You lie," she said, voice shaking. "That ring was lost before your species even learned fire. It cannot be on a human's hand." Ryan frowned. "Ma'am, I'm not lying. My team found a buried ship during excavation last month. Inside it was, well, this. It just fit my finger, so I kept it." The symbols on the ring pulsed faintly, once, twice, like a heartbeat. A soft humming filled the air, so low it made everyone's bones vibrate. The woman took a step forward. "You shouldn't have touched it." "That ring does not belong to you." Ryan's expression hardened. "Then who does it belong to?" The old woman's voice was barely a whisper now. "To the Velarin." A cold wave passed through the hall. The name hung in the air like a curse. Even the air filters seemed to stop humming. Ryan looked confused. "The who?" No one answered. Every alien, tall, short, scaled, or feathered, lowered their eyes in silence. Finally, the woman spoke again. "The Velarin were creators of the first suns, the architects of life. Their empire ended before even the oldest star in your system was born. Their technology was forbidden because it changed reality itself." She reached out a trembling hand. And that ring was their key. Ryan felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Look, I don't know anything about ancient empires. I'm just an explorer. We dig, we study, we report." "Report?" the woman snapped. "Do you even know what you carry?" The ring pulsed again, brighter this time. For a moment, everyone saw strange light patterns floating around him, like ghostly constellations made of fire. The air grew heavy, humming louder. The old woman's eyes widened. "It's awakening." Suddenly, a shockwave burst from Ryan's hand, knocking over several nearby tables. Alarms started flashing red across the archive walls. Holograms flickered. Energy readings spiked across every scanner in the room. "What the hell?" Ryan shouted, clutching his hand. The ring had become hot, almost burning. Yet when he tried to pull it off, it wouldn't move. It was stuck. The old woman shouted to the guards, "Deactivate the archive! Now, contain him before—" But it was too late. The lights went out. Only the glow from the ring remained, pulsing slowly, rhythmically, like something alive. Ryan breathed hard, his heart pounding. "What is happening to me?" A voice, soft and distant, echoed inside his head. "Return us. Home!" He staggered back, eyes wide. "Who said that?" No one answered. The aliens backed away, terrified. The old woman looked horrified, her ancient eyes glistening with tears. "I've heard that voice before," she whispered. "1,000,000 years ago. My mother heard it too." She looked at him with disbelief and sorrow. "Human, you cannot understand what you've done. The ring you wear does not belong in this time." Ryan tried to stay calm. "Then tell me what to do. Just tell me how to remove it." But she shook her head slowly. "You cannot. The ring chooses its bearer. And if it has chosen you?" Her gaze lifted toward the ceiling where the star field flickered through the glass dome. "Then the stars will never be the same again." Silence fell once more, broken only by the hum of the ring. It began to glow brighter, projecting shapes into the air. Strange symbols, constellations, and an image of a distant star cluster none of them recognized. Ryan stared at it, mesmerized. "What is that?" The woman's voice trembled. "It's a map. A message. Calling something back." Ryan looked up, eyes wide. "Calling what back?" The old woman's lips quivered as she answered, "Not what? Who?" The ring pulsed again, and the map expanded, showing something vast, sleeping beyond the edge of known space. A shadow moving among dead stars. A voice older than light itself, and as the ring dimmed, one final whisper echoed in the human's mind. "Welcome back, Creator." The night after the incident in the Galactic Archive, Commander Ryan Holt sat alone in his quarters. The lights were dim. His hand trembled slightly as he stared at the ring. It wasn't glowing anymore. Just dull metal again, quiet, harmless, innocent. But Ryan knew better. He could still hear that voice. Not with his ears, but deep inside his thoughts. A calm whisper repeating the same words. "Return us home." He had tried everything. Pulling, cutting, even scanning it with his ship's medtech. Nothing worked. The ring wouldn't come off. And the scanners? They showed something impossible. The ring wasn't made of any known element in the galaxy. Ryan sighed, rubbing his forehead. "What the hell are you?" he muttered. Then his door chimed. A voice spoke from outside. "May I enter, human?" It was her, the elderly alien woman from the archive. He hesitated. "If you're here to take the ring, good luck." "It's not coming off." The door slid open. The woman stepped in slowly, her silver eyes calm but filled with sadness. "I am not here to take it," she said softly. "I am here to tell you why it found you." Ryan frowned. "You talk like the ring's alive." She gave a weak smile. "In a way it is." She sat across from him, resting her old hands on the table. The Valaran were not gods, though some called them that. They were scientists, builders of light. Their creations shaped galaxies, and their mistakes destroyed them. She looked at the ring, her eyes shimmering. That ring is one of their last keys, a memory device connected to something vast. It chooses those who carry echoes of the old code. In their blood, Ryan blinked. "You mean DNA?" She nodded slowly. "You call it DNA, they called it the thread. And if the ring chose you, then you carry a fragment of the thread inside you." Ryan laughed nervously. "You're saying I'm part alien?" Her gaze turned sharp. "No, human. I am saying the Valaran might have made you." The words hit him like a shockwave. He sat frozen, unable to breathe. "Made us humans?" "You're joking." "I wish I were," she whispered. "But the truth is, your kind appeared too quickly, too perfectly, on a small, fragile world. Some of us believed it was natural evolution. Others suspected design." Ryan looked down at the ring, feeling suddenly small. "So this thing is proof?" "It is more than proof," she said quietly. "It is a beacon. The moment you activated it, the signal spread through the void. The old systems are waking." Ryan's heart pounded. "Waking? What systems?" The woman closed her eyes. "Machines older than suns. Guardians left behind when the Valaran vanished. They will come to investigate the signal, and they will not care who lives in their path." A cold silence filled the room. Ryan whispered, "Then we have to stop it." "Tell me how." The woman shook her head. "You cannot stop it, Commander Holt. You can only understand it." "Understand what?" She looked at him with pity. "Why it chose you." Before Ryan could answer, the ship's alarm suddenly blared. The lights turned red. A robotic voice echoed through the halls. "Unidentified energy surge detected in orbit." Ryan jumped to his feet. "What now?" They ran to the observation deck. The window showed the planet below, calm and silent, until something shimmered above the atmosphere. A vast shape appeared, emerging from nothing. Like a ghost ship made of starlight and memory. It wasn't flying. It was phasing through space, rippling reality around it. Ryan stared in awe. "Is that one of their ships?" The old woman nodded slowly, her voice trembling. "No, that is their memory. The ship that answers the ring." As they watched, a beam of light extended from the ghostly vessel, touching Ryan's hand through the glass. The ring began to glow again, bright, golden, alive. The whisper returned, louder this time. "We remember you," Ryan gasped. "I'm hearing it again." The woman turned pale. "They think you are one of them, or one of their creators." The ship outside pulsed brighter, sending waves of light across the sky. Every scanner in orbit went wild. Communication systems crashed. The stars themselves seemed to flicker. Rian turned to her. "What do I do?" She looked at him, tears forming in her ancient eyes. "You listen, human, for the universe is speaking through you." And then, for the first time, the ring's light projected a clear image. A city of impossible beauty, suspended in the void, surrounded by suns. And a single phrase appeared in alien script, the archive of origins. The old woman fell to her knees. "I thought it was destroyed," she whispered. "But it still exists." Ryan stared at the vision, heart racing. "What is it?" She looked up at him with awe and fear. "It's where everything began," she said. "Where we began." The light faded slowly, leaving silence and the faint hum of energy in the air. Ryan looked at the stars, realization dawning. The voice, the signal, the map, it wasn't calling something home, it was calling him. The voice had not left Rian since the vision. Even when he tried to sleep, he could still feel it, like a second heartbeat pulsing under his skin. Sometimes it whispered. Sometimes it showed flashes of things he couldn't explain. A tower made of light, a world of crystal oceans, and faces, thousands of faces, both alien and strangely human. Each time he touched the ring, the images grew stronger. He sat alone in the observation deck of his small cruiser, watching the stars pass by. The old alien woman, Elder Sarah, had fallen asleep in the corner chair. Her breathing was slow and uneven. Ryan stared at the ring. "You said you remember me," he whispered. "Then show me who I am." The metal shimmered faintly. Then everything went black. For a moment, Ryan thought he'd passed out. But then he realized he wasn't in his ship anymore. He stood on the surface of an alien world, under two suns. The air shimmered with golden dust, and tall towers stretched into the clouds. The city glowed with energy, alive and humming with intelligence, and everywhere he looked, beings walked, tall, elegant, radiant with light. The Valaran, one of them turned toward him. Its eyes were the same silver as Elder Sarah's, but calmer, older. It spoke in a voice that echoed through his bones. "We are the echo, you are the memory." Ryan took a step back. "What is this place?" "Our end," the voice replied. "And your beginning." The ground trembled. Far beyond the towers, the sky cracked open. A storm of fire and metal consumed the horizon. Ships burned. Suns fell, Ryan shouted. "What's happening?" "We built too much," the voice said sadly. "We thought we could make life perfect. But perfection demands obedience, and when the living refused, we made them silent." He saw it, machines tearing worlds apart. Light collapsing into darkness, and the Valaran screaming as their creations turned on them. "So we hid our memory," the voice continued. "We buried it in time, waiting for one who still carried our code." Ryan's breath caught. "You're saying, I carry that code? You carry more than that. You carry the choice we could not make." Suddenly the vision shifted. He was standing in front of a massive door, covered in glowing runes. The same pattern that appeared from the ring's light earlier. "This is the archive of origins," said the voice. "Inside lies the truth of creation. But to open it, you must remember who you were." Ryan's head throbbed. "I'm just a human explorer. I'm not one of you!" "Not one of us," the voice said gently. "But made from us." Before Ryan could answer, everything shattered like glass. He fell back into darkness, then gasped awake inside his ship, his heart racing. Elder Sarah was standing over him, eyes wide. "You were gone," she whispered. "For hours." "You didn't move. The ring was glowing the whole time." Ryan sat up, drenched in sweat. "I saw them, Sarah, the Valaran. Their cities, their fall. They showed me everything." Her face turned pale. "Then it has begun. The ring is unlocking its memory. You're becoming its vessel." "I don't want to be anyone's vessel," Ryan snapped. "I just want this thing off me." Sarah looked at him sadly. "It doesn't want to control you. It wants you to decide. Decide what? Whether their legacy should return." The ship suddenly jolted. Lights flickered red. A synthetic voice echoed through the cabin. "Incoming transmission. Unknown source." The screen lit up, showing a figure made of pure white light. Humanoid, but featureless. Its voice was deep and calm. "Bearer of the key. You have awakened the echo. Ryan froze. Who are you? We are the Guardians. We were left to silence the stars should the Velarin ever rise again, Sarah gasped. The Star Wardens? The light figure turned its gaze toward her. Elder Sarah of the 7th line. You have broken the silence. The human must surrender the key. Ryan clenched his fist. This ring isn't a weapon. All creation is a weapon in the wrong hands. The transmission flickered, then cut. Outside the ship, the stars began to twist. Dark shapes, massive ships made of black light, appeared one by one, surrounding them. Sarah whispered, They found us. Ryan felt the ring heating up again, burning brighter than ever. The same voice from his vision echoed inside his skull. Do not fear them. You built them? What? He whispered. You built the Guardians. They obey your command. Ryan stood, staring into the endless dark filled with enemy ships. He raised his hand. The ring pulsed once, then twice, and the void itself seemed to tremble. The black ships froze mid-motion. Their weapons powered down. Silence. Sarah stared at him in disbelief. How did you... Ryan lowered his hand slowly, his voice trembling. I just remembered. The stars outside began to rearrange, forming the same pattern from his vision, the map to the archive of origins. Ryan turned to Sarah. We're going there. She hesitated. If you do, you'll learn what even gods feared to know. He gave a small, grim smile. Then it's time humanity finally learned the truth about where we came from. And as the ship jumped into hyperspace, the ring whispered again. Soft, almost human now. Welcome back to your own creation. The stars outside the cruiser streaked into long silver lines as the ship leapt through hyperspace. Inside the quiet cabin, Ryan sat across from Elder Sarah. Both of them avoided each other's eyes. The silence between them felt heavy, like the calm before a storm. The ring had stopped glowing, but its faint hum still filled the air, like a heartbeat trapped between worlds. Ryan finally broke the silence. Sarah, you said your mother heard the ring's voice once. What did you mean by that? The old alien woman exhaled slowly. Her shoulders sagged as if the weight of centuries pressed upon her. It's time you know, she said softly. The truth I've hidden all my life. Ryan leaned forward. Go on. Sarah stared into the glass window. The reflected starlight shimmered in her silver eyes. My mother was not just a scientist. She was one of the last architects of the Velarin. Her name was Maris Valen, the keeper of the core. Ryan frowned. The core? It was the heart of our civilization, Sarah explained. A machine that connected every Velarin mind into one shared thought. The core made us brilliant. It made us united. Her voice trembled. But it also made us blind. She closed her eyes, remembering. When the core began to predict the future, my mother noticed something wrong. It saw a species rising far away, a race small, fragile, emotional, yet destined to inherit the stars. It called them the stray children. Ryan's eyes widened. Humans? Yes, Sarah said. But the council feared you. They believed no creation should ever surpass its makers. So they voted to erase your world before you began. Ryan felt his stomach tighten. Earth. My mother disobeyed, Sarah continued. She locked the core, took the ring, the control key, and fled. She hid the ring where no Velarin would look. On a silent red world, Mars, Ryan whispered. She nodded. Yes, she chose a place of dust and ruin to protect your kind. And she never returned. Sarah's voice broke. I was a child then. I waited centuries, hoping she'd come back. But she vanished into myth. Some said the core consumed her. Others believed she joined the stray children she tried to save. Ryan sat back, stunned. So your mother saved humanity before it even existed. Sarah gave a faint smile. Perhaps, or perhaps she only delayed our end. The ship jolted suddenly. Warning lights blinked red across the console. Ryan jumped up. What now? The autopilot spoke in a calm, synthetic tone. Approaching gravitational anomaly. Unknown structure detected ahead. Through the window, the black of hyperspace fractured into shimmering light. Something massive floated ahead, an ancient station shaped like a ring of broken moons. Its surface glowed faintly with golden veins of energy. Sarah gasped. By the stars! The archive. They slowed the ship and drifted closer. The closer they came, the clearer the writing along its surface became. Runes identical to those on Ryan's ring. "It's alive," Ryan murmured. The ship trembled as they entered its orbit. The ring on his finger lit up again, brighter than ever before. The old language flared across its surface, responding to the structure ahead. A soft voice filled the cabin, the same voice that haunted Ryan's dreams. Memory confirmed. Access granted. A beam of golden light reached out from the archive and engulfed their ship. Sarah grabbed his arm. "Ryan, don't move! It's scanning you!" But the light didn't harm him. It felt warm, familiar. Then the ship drifted gently into a docking bay made of pure crystal. The moment the engines powered down, Sarah whispered, "It knows who you are." Ryan turned to her. "Then tell me, who am I?" Sarah hesitated. Her lips trembled as she said, "You are not just its key. You are its echo. What does that mean?" "My mother didn't just hide the ring, Ryan. She encoded a fragment of her own memories and part of the core's seed into human DNA. She believed that one day, when the time was right, that memory would awaken." Ryan's voice dropped. "You're saying I'm carrying her memory?" Sarah nodded slowly. "You're not just her hope. You're her continuation." The words hit him harder than any battle he'd ever fought. He looked at his reflection in the glass. A human face, yes. But now he wasn't sure whose history looked back at him. He whispered, "So I'm part of her." "And part of them." Sarah placed her trembling hand on his shoulder. "And that is why the ring chose you. It recognized itself within you." Suddenly, the walls around them flickered. Holograms of galaxies and lost civilizations filled the chamber. A deep, resonant voice spoke again. "Welcome, heir of the thread. The archive awaits." The floor opened beneath them, lowering them into a vast chamber glowing with starlight. Everywhere they looked were floating shards of memory, scenes from countless worlds, frozen in time. Ryan reached out to one. It showed Earth, blue and alive. He saw oceans, mountains, humans building cities, dreaming, exploring. And in the center of it all stood a woman, tall, silver-eyed, wearing the same ring. Sarah's breath caught. "That's my mother." The projection looked straight at Ryan, as if seeing through time. "If you are seeing this," her voice said, "then my plan succeeded. The stray children live, and so does the choice." Ryan whispered, "What choice? To awaken what we were, or to let it end forever?" The image faded, leaving silence. Sarah turned to him, her expression torn between pride and sorrow. "She left it to you, Ryan, to decide if creation begins again or stays buried." Ryan clenched his fists, the ring burning bright. He looked out at the swirling galaxies beyond the archive's walls. "For 1,000,000 years, he said softly, "you've all been waiting for someone to remember." He raised his hand. "Then it's time someone did." The archive of origins floated in silence. A cathedral of forgotten stars, half machine, half memory. Ryan stood in its central chamber staring at the glowing pedestal before him. The ring on his finger pulsed softly, like a living heart remembering its rhythm after centuries of sleep. Elder Sarah stood beside him, clutching her staff tightly. "This place has been asleep for 1,000,000 years, she whispered. "If you wake it, the whole galaxy will feel it." Ryan didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the swirling hologram before him, a vast web of stars and worlds, each connected by threads of light. At the center pulsed one bright blue point, Earth. The ring grew warm. Its light climbed up his arm, wrapping around him like fire made of memory. "Command accepted," said a calm, echoing voice. "Identity confirmed. The heir of the thread has returned." Sarah stepped back, eyes wide. "Ryan, it's responding to you." Ryan's pulse quickened. "What happens if I accept?" "Then the cycle begins anew," the voice said. "All that was lost will rise again." Sarah's voice broke. "That's what destroyed them the first time." Ryan turned to her. If this place holds the truth of our creation, maybe it also holds the answer to why they fell. Sarah shook her head. You don't understand. The Valarin didn't just die. They erased themselves. They chose silence to keep their power from consuming everything. Rian clenched his jaw. And you think staying silent will save us now? Before she could answer, the archive began to tremble. The lights around them brightened to blinding white. The floor split open, revealing endless layers of golden machinery below. A booming voice filled the air, ancient and mechanical. Memory stream active. Reinstating core connection. Ryan felt his body lifted off the floor, suspended in light. His vision blurred as streams of data and images flooded his mind. He saw galaxies forming, worlds shaped from dust, hands, his own or perhaps someone else's, building stars like toys. And then he heard a voice, familiar, human. It was his own voice, echoing from the past. If we fall, let our children rise in our place. He gasped and fell to his knees as the light faded. The ring burned against his skin. Sarah rushed to him, helping him stand. What did you see? She asked. He stared at her, pale and shaken. I saw me, or someone who looked like me. Standing where I'm standing now, Sarah's expression darkened. The heir of the thread was not a title, it was a cycle. The same consciousness reborn through time. Ryan swallowed hard. You're saying I've lived before? She nodded. Every bearer of the ring carries your memory. Your choices shape their destiny. He looked at his hand again. Then I've been trying to fix this for 1,000,000 years and failing every time, Sarah said softly, until now. Before Ryan could respond, the archive shook violently. From deep within its walls, a pulse of light exploded outward, ripping through space like a storm of dawn. The shockwaves spread across the galaxy. Every star, every ship, every sleeping machine felt it. In distant corners of the universe, long-dead worlds awakened. Massive engines buried beneath alien sands came to life. Obelisks that had stood silent for ages began to hum, and above every inhabited planet, the sky began to split. In the capital world of the Tellurian Dominion, citizens looked up as the clouds twisted apart. A line of light appeared, thin as a crack in glass, then widened, revealing an endless golden void beyond. From within that light, colossal shapes moved, machines the size of moons, covered in ancient runes. The same voice that spoke to Ryan now echoed across every world. The heir has spoken. The thread awakens. Back in the archive, alarms blared. Sarah stumbled as energy surged through the floor. You've started the return protocol, she shouted. Ryan's voice was steady, though fear gleamed in his eyes. I didn't start it. It started itself. The hologram of galaxies before them now showed chaos, bright points of light flaring like burning stars. Every system is lighting up, Sarah cried. They're waking all at once. Cycle restored, the archive's voice announced. Awaiting directive. Ryan looked at Sarah, then at the map. All of creation was listening, waiting for his command. He whispered, Directive? Choose, the voice said. Rebuild what was lost, or end what remains. Sarah grabbed his arm. Don't decide in anger, Rian. The Valarin chose creation without mercy, and it destroyed them. Ryan stared at the glowing earth in the center of the map. His mind flooded with voices, human, alien, ancient, all woven together. Every life, every memory, every failure of 1,000 civilizations. And then he saw his mother's message again, Maris Valen's final words. To awaken what we were, or to let it end forever. Ryan closed his eyes. The weight of creation itself rested on his shoulders. He whispered, Maybe the only way forward is to rebuild differently. He raised his hand. The ring blazed brighter than ever before. Outside, the fractured skies pulsed with golden fire. The ancient machines paused, as if listening. And then, slowly, they bowed. The galaxies echoed with the same whisper that had haunted him since the beginning. The Creator remembers. Silence followed the storm. The golden light faded. leaving behind a strange stillness inside the archive of origins. Ryan stood motionless, breathing heavily. The ring's glow had dimmed, but its warmth still pulsed faintly against his skin, like a heartbeat echoing from another age. Sarah watched him carefully. "It obeyed you," she whispered. "No one has ever done that before." Ryan didn't answer. His eyes were distant, staring into the empty air where moments ago entire galaxies had obeyed his call. "Sarah," he murmured, voice trembling. "What if this isn't power? What if it's punishment?" Before she could reply, the floor beneath them shifted. The archive's central platform opened like a flower of steel and light, revealing a spiral staircase descending deep into the dark. A voice, softer now, almost human, echoed in their minds. "Heir of the thread. Enter the memory core. The final truth awaits." Sarah shook her head. "No one has ever gone below the core, not even the keepers." Ryan stepped forward, his face pale but resolute. "Then it's time someone did." The staircase descended endlessly. The deeper they went, the quieter everything became, until even their footsteps made no sound. It was as if the air itself refused to carry noise. At last they reached a vast chamber. In its center floated a sphere of pure light, suspended by invisible energy. Inside it, thousands of ghostly figures moved, humanoid, translucent, like echoes of the past. Ryan whispered, "What are they?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Memories." "The last Velarin. They uploaded their consciousness before they ended themselves." The ring on Ryan's hand began to hum again. The figures inside the sphere turned, slowly, all at once, facing him, and then one of them stepped forward. A woman, tall, graceful, with silver eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies. Her voice echoed like wind through stars. "You have returned, fragment of what we were." Ryan's breath caught. You know me?" The woman nodded. "You are our echo, the piece of us that refused to fade. When we destroyed ourselves, we sent one spark forward, into time, into flesh. You are that spark," Sarah whispered. "He's their reincarnation." The woman continued. "We ended ourselves not to die, but to hide. We saw what we had become, creators who forgot mercy, gods who feared their own reflection." Rian stepped closer. "Then why bring me back? Why give me this ring?" Her gaze softened. "Because you were the only one who doubted. When we decided to erase our empire, you begged us to find another way. You believed life deserved another chance." He swallowed hard. "And you punished me for it?" "No. We trusted you with the one thing we could not destroy, hope." The chamber darkened. The sphere flickered, showing flashes of what had once been, planets burning. Cities made of light collapsing, beings made of pure energy screaming as their own creations turned against them. Ryan fell to his knees. "I did this." Sarah touched his shoulder gently. "Not you. Them. Their arrogance." The woman's voice filled the chamber again. "We silenced ourselves so that our legacy would not consume the stars again. But you, child of humanity, have broken that silence." He looked up sharply. "Humanity?" The woman smiled faintly. "Yes, you are what we became. Fleshborn from ash. The universe gave you a second chance to remember what it means to create without domination." Ryan stared at her in disbelief. "You're saying humans are descendants of you?" "No, you are our consequence." The walls began to tremble. The sphere of memories cracked, light bleeding out like liquid fire. Sarah shouted, "It's collapsing!" The woman's voice grew faint. "You must choose, Ryan Valen. Rebuild the thread, and you will awaken what we buried. Or sever it forever, and accept that some truths are better left forgotten." He shouted above the roaring light, "What happens if I destroy it? Then the stars will go dark, but they will finally belong to themselves." The chamber shook violently. The light surged toward Ryan, surrounding him completely. Images flashed before his eyes. Earth, Mars, the human colonies, alien worlds, all bound by the same golden threads connecting every soul. He saw wars fought in the name of progress. He saw peace built on hidden lies. And he saw himself, standing at the center of it all, generation after generation, always making the same choice. He whispered, Maybe. This time I can make it right. The woman's fading voice replied. Then remember, heir of the thread, mercy is creation's final form. The light exploded. Sarah shielded her eyes as Ryan vanished into the blinding glow. When the light faded, the sphere was gone. Only the ring lay on the floor, still warm. Sarah picked it up carefully. Ryan, she called into the silence. No answer. Then, faintly, from the empty air came his voice, soft, distant, but full of calm. I know what to do now. Sarah looked up. The ceiling of the chamber had cracked open, revealing a sky full of stars. But they weren't still, they were moving, rearranging themselves into new constellations. A new pattern. A new beginning. The stars were no longer where they used to be. Across the galaxy, skies shimmered with strange constellations, moving, alive, whispering. People looked up from alien worlds, gasping in awe and fear. Something ancient was stirring once more. In the heart of the archive of origins, Sarah stood alone. The vast hall that once glowed with golden light now lay quiet, its walls cracked, its memory dim. Only one thing remained untouched: the ring. It floated in midair, pulsing softly like a heartbeat waiting to be claimed. She hesitated, tears shining in her old eyes. You said you knew what to do, Ryan, she whispered. Then where are you? Before her words could fade, the light of the ring brightened. A beam shot upward, and from it, a figure began to take shape. Rian Valen stood there, alive but changed. His eyes glowed faintly, like twin stars, and faint lines of golden light ran beneath his skin. Sarah gasped. You're not fully human anymore. He smiled weakly. Maybe I never was, she stepped forward. What happened down there? What did you see? Ryan looked up at the hovering ceiling of stars. Everything, he said softly. The beginning, the fall, the silence, and the truth of why they left it all behind. He raised his hand. The ring floated toward him, sliding back onto his finger as if it had been waiting for centuries. The moment it touched his skin, the air around them shifted. Holographic light filled the chamber again, this time showing two paths stretching across the stars. One path glowed gold, bright, pulsing, alive. The other was dark, endless, peaceful. Directive active, said the archive's voice. Rebuild or release. Sarah looked at him, heart pounding. You can bring them all back, or let them go forever. Ryan took a slow breath. I saw what they did, he whispered. The Valaran built galaxies, created life, but they never understood the pain they left behind. They built control, not peace. I saw myself in them, Sarah, in their arrogance, in their fear of losing power. She stepped closer. Then choose differently this time. He turned toward her, eyes wet. If I rebuild them, they'll return, with their knowledge, their machines, their hunger. The universe will shine again, but it might never be free. Sarah's voice trembled. And if you release them? Ryan looked at the dark path. Then their memory ends. Every trace of them, including what's left inside me, will fade. Humanity will stand alone. The silence stretched. The whole galaxy seemed to hold its breath. He remembered the woman of light, the last Valaran, her voice fading in the dark. Mercy is creation's final form. He looked at the golden path again. Beautiful. Tempting. The dream of restoring everything lost. But behind its glow, he saw the same chains they had once forged. He whispered, Mercy. Then he turned toward the darkness. Sarah's eyes widened. Ryan, no, if you choose release, you'll... He smiled softly. It's okay. Maybe that's what I was meant to do. He pressed his palm to the dark light. Instantly, the ring blazed brighter than a sun. The chamber shook as if the universe itself cried out. Release confirmed, the archive said. Memory dissolution in progress. Golden light poured from the walls, rising like smoke into the air, vanishing into the stars above. Sarah shouted over the roar, Ryan! You'll lose everything! Your memories, your power. He looked at her one last time. Not everything. He touched his heart. What they couldn't understand was love. That's something humanity never forgot. The light consumed him. For one moment, Sarah saw not just a man, but every version of him across time, the ancient Velarin creator, the human explorer, the child who found the ring in the ashes. All of them smiled as they dissolved into light, and then silence. The archive went dark. The great halls turned to dust, the machines crumbling into nothing. The ring, once burning with power, fell to the ground, cool, ordinary, lifeless. Sarah knelt beside it, her heart breaking. She whispered, "Goodbye, Ryan." But then she noticed something. Through the cracks of the archive's ceiling, the stars outside were changing again, forming new constellations, ones no one had ever seen before. They glowed softly, not golden, but blue, the color of dawn. And deep within their pattern, she saw it. A circle made of stars, a perfect ring, a message written across the universe. We remember. Years later, on a quiet human colony, a child played near a river. He picked up a strange metallic band half buried in the sand. It glowed faintly when he touched it. He smiled and slipped it onto his finger. Far above, the stars shimmered, almost as if they were watching, and somewhere, in that endless sea of light, a familiar voice whispered, "Creation always begins again."